Herbal tea is an infusion of leaves, roots, bark, seeds, or flowers from some other plant. Today I will talk about tea, the tea plant, Camellia sinensis. You and I will explore its sounds and triggers. When the tea plant is plucked, the newest, least processed tea is called white tea. White tea. White tea is plucked with 2 leaves and a bud. Leaf buds are covered in whitish hair and plucked before they open. Plucked before they open. It has a mild flavor and is not yet open. This is the least processed and rarest tea. Teas are organized by how processed they have been, how long they have oxidized, whether or not they have fermented, and then by how they are cut. There is white tea, yellow tea, which is very rare and I don't have, green tea, oolong tea, and black tea. This is such a tea, tea bag, black tea. Pu'er tea, which is a fermented tea. That is in order of how long it's been allowed to oxidize. What does oxidize mean? Well, oxidize means how long the enzymes in the tea have been allowed to break it down after it's been picked. This is different than fermentation. Fermentation relies on bacteria. Oxidation relies on the molecules inside the tea itself. Kind of like rusting. How long has the tea been allowed to rust? White tea, plucked before opening, mild flavor with natural sweetness. Green tea is plucked whole. Green tea is plucked. It's open. It doesn't have the whitish hairs. Green tea is already opened. And the leaves are not allowed to oxidize, not allowed to rust. They're immediately steamed and heated. And then steamed or heated and then rolled and dried. That's green tea. The steaming and heating stops or prevents the oxidation, and then it's dried to stop that. There are so many kinds of green teas. Yellow tea is a green tea that, instead of being rolled and dried right away, is allowed to be wet for a long time and becomes yellow and loses some of that grassiness. Yellow tea is rare because you can imagine leaving wet tea to sit around. It's difficult to make sure it doesn't mold, difficult to make sure it doesn't oxidize. It's not allowed to oxidize. It just This is the tea you're familiar with in England. This is the tea that would have been thrown into the Boston Harbor during the Boston Tea Party. And if you stop it from oxidizing all the way, it's an oolong. So white, pictorially, not allowed to oxidize. Green tea, baked at normal time, steamed and heated to prevent oxidation. Yellow tea is green tea that's been allowed to sit wet, so the flavors change. And then if you let it sit, you let it wilt. In the white tea, you pick your fresh tea leaves. If you want it to be oolong, you'll let it wilt in the sun. You toss it in the basket. You'll let it partially oxidize. You'll pan it and you'll bake it and you'll roll it and you'll roll it and you'll dry it and you'll fire it and you'll have oolong tea. Now, if you really want to let it sit, full oxidation before you roll it and dry it, that's black tea. If you let it age after that, you can ferment it and make pu'er tea. Let me show you. So, those are the tea types. Teas also have grades based on how small we cut them. These are 2 white teas. This is a silver needle tea, white tea from China. You can see it's got the long, beautiful, can you see? It's got the long, beautiful needles. And you see how they're all closed. Little closed buds. Can you see? Can you see the little tea buds? This is silver needle white tea. What a good tingly sound. This is tea called fannings. When they're sifting out the tea, the stuff in the sieve that they keep, that they sell for a high price, will be this. The stuff that they sell cheap, but you never do this with white tea. White tea always comes like this. But for some reason, I don't know why I was able to get this. I was able to somehow get these fannings. Which fannings are the dust, basically. Dust. Fannings are just above dust. It's the dust of tea. The dust of the tea. The dust of the tea. Tea bags make good sounds, though. I can't remember when tea bags were invented, but that's not always how people took their tea. This is one from China. So that's considered much lower quality. But that doesn't mean that it doesn't have good taste or that you don't enjoy it. I'm sorry, lower grade is a better way to say it. And there's different kinds of grade based on how many leaves you can see in the tea. Because you can have a pico, you can have an orange pico, you can have a full pico, and that's just based on how many buds there are. CTC is one that's been crushed by a machine instead of picked out by hand. And then the stuff that you sift out in the bottom is fannings, and then even smaller than fannings is dust, and that goes in bags. But that's not a type of tea, that's a grade of tea. So these are both white white tea type, believe it or not. Believe it or not. I've never ever seen, and even in my tea sommelier lessons, yes, that's a real thing, even in that, you never see a white tea. You never see a white tea that's in a pouch. That's like a horrible thing to do to a white tea. What a lovely paper. What a lovely piece of paper. I know this is a departure, isn't it, from how we usually do our videos. I'm tired and I couldn't sleep, and I wanted to talk to you about tea anyway and let you know about this. I'm really excited. I think I'm gonna later on make an ASMR virtual restaurant where you can enjoy tea and foods with all different ASMR artists. Not like mukbang. Nothing wrong with that if that's your style, but not like that. Like a relaxing time together, and you can actually get the items, the tea items, and the little recipes, so that you can experience it in your own real life. You could be sitting down with an ASMR artist drinking tea, and you're drinking the actual tea while you're watching their video. Isn't that lovely? I've already made a little menu, and on the menu you'll be able, because you can cook with tea, did you know that? It's lovely. It's a new trend in cooking and in tea sommelier-ness. So I am not a tea sommelier yet, but I've been taking a couple classes. You don't have to take tea sommelier classes to start a tea business, but I wanted to give you the best because you are so worth it. And so I've been studying how I can source the best teas for you and the best relaxation items, the tingliest little massage things, little fabrics and sounds. I'm going to source little leather and jacket type things for you, and you can surround yourself with triggers while you listen to ASMR. It's going to be lovely, and we'll be able to spend time together. So I wanted to tell you about it in this kind of informal non-ad setting. Anyway, this is a tea bag. So, different countries do their teas differently. Tea originally came from China. As you get more experience with tea, you are able to taste where a tea comes from. Wow. I'm struggling right now to taste the difference between where my black teas come from. But my green teas are easy. So this is another low-grade tea. This is a Japanese green tea. So many little tea bags in here. Tea bags. Oh, it smells so good. I love the smell of green tea because green tea is so quintessentially Japanese. And in Japan, there's so many different kinds of green tea, depending on if you steam it, what additives you put with it, like with Matcha, where you have little rounds, little barley type things in it. I'm biased because I'm part Japanese, but to me, there is no tea better in the whole world than Japanese green teas. And tea ceremony is perfected in Japan. I remember sitting for 6 hours straight at tea ceremony in Japan, and all the little old ladies with their bent knees didn't feel anything, but I was sweating. I couldn't sit in kimono that long. It was so uncomfortable, and I was so big for the kimono because I'm much larger than the average Japanese lady. In also use tea ceremony grade, very bitter green tea. Hojicha is a roasted green tea. And again, Matcha has those lovely additives. This is bad on my part, but I have trouble tasting the difference between a hojicha, which is a roasted green tea, and an oolong, which is an oxidized tea, not roasted, just lightly wilted and so forth, oxidized. But I love oolong tea. I used to drink it all the time when I was in Japan. I miss Japan. I used to go to visit my great aunt. She took me throughout Tokyo and would stay in her apartment and look out across the water at Mount Fuji in the mist. I miss her. She's not with us anymore on this planet. And she's not an astronaut. I don't know if you can put two and two together, but I just want to give you a little, friendly, it's good to see you. Tea makes me feel that. So that's green tea. This is matcha. This is a nice matcha. I don't know if you can see its lovely, lovely color. No green screen today. Just the pillow fort of tea. Kind of informal triggers. I don't know if you can hear this. Can you hear the hair? Very focused on the sounds instead of the story and information today. I don't usually do trigger-focused videos like this, but I wanted to talk to you about teas, and I wanted to let you know how excited I am about kind of bringing ASMR to real life, kind of. I'm also going to start, after about 1,000 subscribers or so, we're going to start doing, for patrons, live doctor visits, but not like real doctor visits, because telehealth is still a tricky thing. And in some places you have to be licensed in the state where the person is. Other places you can just be licensed in your own state. I'm licensed in Virginia. So in Virginia I could take telehealth patients. But regardless, I'll be doing ASMR, like individual, like Skype or Zoom calls, and we'll do ASMR, like medical education. It'll be the same as these videos, but for patrons it'll be an individualized session just for them. So like half an hour we might talk about headaches, depending if they have headaches, we might talk about your bellyache, but not as individualized medical advice as education and ASMR for entertainment. Unless you live in Virginia, then maybe we can work something out. Yep. So I'm excited about these kind of real-life ASMR experiences. I already incorporate ASMR into my real-life medical visits. But I don't whisper because I think most people will be uncomfortable with that. But I do incorporate, I'll have very, very soft music or low lights, especially for people with headaches. When we do OMT or manual therapies, I'll keep it very quiet and speak in a soothing tone. That's how I do in my real life visits as a physician. This doesn't have good sounds, it's just pretty. I love this kind of bag. It's not very nice when I'm drinking tea though. So yeah, so patrons will be able to call in. I'm going to open up sessions reserved waiting lists, and patrons will be able to call in, and we'll have half-an-hour sessions, and they can record them if they want, and they'll be live, and we'll talk to each other. Half-an-hour ASMR health education sessions. And that's going to be lovely, I think. Patrons are at patreon.com/Camino. So I'm excited about some of these real life things that we're going to be doing together, you and me. Yeah, I'm hurting today. How about you? Are you okay? I was listening to an ASMR Zeitgeist video this morning, because it is morning and I've not slept well. And he said something that's very true from a pain psychology perspective. He said, pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. That's true. That is true. In this world you will have trouble, is how Yeshua put it. But Yeshua said, take heart, I have overcome the world. I wish I could share with you more than just relaxation. I wish that we knew each other well enough that I could share with you, the true peace that comes only from my Yeshua. But I don't have that peace yet myself. We'll get there. You and I. On our little journey. So, pu'er tea, fermented teas from China. But Korea has a version. So this is a Korean, very special semi-fermented tea from Mount Hala's volcanic rock strata. Wow. Little thing on your cheek here, my dear. Can you imagine that? Volcanic rock tea. It makes a lovely sound. You want to see what it looks like? It smells more fragrant and less, I think, heavy than the Chinese pu'er fermented teas. I don't know if you can see. Can you see in there? Can you dive into the tea? I picked this up when I was in Korea. My little mini deployment. One of my favorite teas I've been discovering is called lapsang sochang. It's a black tea from China that has been smoked. It's a savory tea and it is so good. This is what it looks like. Now, there's this company. I love this company because the way they box their teas, they're called tea punk teas. Not a sponsor. Maybe one day. But so this tea is called Russian Caravan. This tea is called Winter Smoke. And it includes lapsang sochang smoked tea and a Ceylon black blend. And they come with stories that you can get with this QR code. The Cossack scowled at me drunkenly. We had a deal. His tea for information on the Emperor's dragon egg. Lost for 1,000 years. How could I tell him the source of the omelet he just ate? Steampunk tea is like a steampunk tea. And it's smoky. This was my first experience before I knew what sochang was. Wow, it's like a really smoky tea. And it's beautiful. And you can see this is not Fanning's or CTC. This is, full pico. Well, I don't know what kind of pico. Some kind of pico. It's broken down a little bit, but you have, nice big tea leaves. Look at that, it's beautiful. This is Sochung tea. This is Jasmine tea. Jasmine tea's green tea is the base that's been flavored with jasmine-like tea. This particular one's a bit toasty. Oh, sorry, this is not jasmine tea. I lied. Where's my jasmine? This is definitely again Matcha. Not a jasmine. This is again Matcha. I was looking only at the color, but no. Jasmine has a very distinctive taste. You can tell right away what it is. I love mugs. My husband makes potteries. I hope you liked this video. I hope I haven't said anything stupid. Sometimes I say stupid things. But I figured those of you who like the stuff that I do, like hanging out here, and some slightly more intimate close-up triggers, I think you'll like. And I know you'll be excited about my real-life ASMR announcement, so probably this video won't get as many views, but you will. Those of you who do watch it can enjoy it. Can enjoy the views with me. Enjoy the tea with me. You can see where my brain is at. Little Freudian slip. Again, Matcha is one of my favorite teas. So I'm taking a pairing class right now. It's a little bit challenging. But they pair some of these green teas with a white chocolate. I had been reading about using Matcha in cooking, like salmon. There's all kinds of things you can do with it. It's a good cooking tea. I've used it. It's used in seasonings in certain kinds of nori blends. So I don't have any Matcha here because I used it all to make this tea. And one lovely thing I've been learning that you can do, and this is what I've started doing with my extra teas. Did you know that in Burma they set aside tea leaves to make a fermented tea leaf salad and just eat the leaves? So that's what I've started doing with my wet tea leaves. After I've used them for tea, I'm actually putting the tea leaves aside to ferment with some, and kind of like you do kimchi, with ginger and chili and garlic and good stuff. Sesame seeds. So you get those good, lovely Asian ferment flavors. And you eat it with crunchy stuff. And that's the Burmese is called lafette, which means wet tea, as opposed to dry tea. And so that's what I've been doing with my specialties, because it feels so bad to throw away those. I don't throw them away. I was composting them, but to throw away that, beautiful, wet, gunky leaf after you're done with it for brewing. Well, now I can use it for lafette. So I'm learning a lot. So this is skin Matcha. It's got, what does it taste like? Well, here, you can have some. It's okay, we've been living together for a little bit, you and I, right? So we have all the same terms already. Go ahead. Yeah, what do you think? Don't you think it's kind of like, or I don't know, I wouldn't wouldn't say earthy, but because when I think earthy, I think more like a pu'er, but it's almost like more fieldy. You know, it reminds me, it's got less grassy tones and more of that, more like almost seaweed tones. Yeah. It's not as grassy as a sencha. It's got a depth to it that reminds me of other grains. To me, it tastes kind of like the nori stuff that I used to sprinkle over my rice, but in a tea. I like it. It's more oceanic. I think this one is the Jasmine Tea. Yep. Of course, jasmine has a very floral taste, so I don't know why it ended up being so dark. So the liquid is called the liqueur, or the liquor. And you look at that, you look at the color of it. I did these cuppings yesterday, so you don't get to see how to do a proper cupping, but yeah, go ahead. Yeah, so it's like more floral, more brisk, more light, almost more like you think more of like white and yellow and light purple colors, you know, if you have synesthesia, versus like again Matcha has a lot of like brown and I would say dark green flavors. Jasmine tea is very, because it's got jasmine in it, right? The flower, jasmine flower. It's almost got a yellow taste to it to me. Not as in yellow tea, but yeah, this is a little, it's lovely. So that's jasmine. I know, I have so many teas. Now, this little rooster got, which one is this one? Oh, this is the sucha. Yep, you can guess I'm practicing, right? Can you tell? Can you tell the kind of tea by its taste and smell? My husband teased me the other day because for one of my cuppings, one of them was really easy. One of them I was like, oh, that's again Matcha, because I've had that all my life. Versus a lot of the black teas, because I'm Asian, I don't do the black teas as much like the Europeans do. I have European background too, but Danes aren't about tea. Danes are Vikings, so they're about beer and things like that. So, but again, Matcha, like it's like, oh yeah, that I've had. But one I'm getting really good, one you can tell by smell, is the Souchong, because it's smoky. It's like a barbecue tea. Yeah, here. I've chunk posted it already. You want some? What you're supposed to do is you're supposed to admire the dry leaves. You're supposed to admire the wet leaves. You're supposed to look at the color of the liqueur, the clarity of it. Kind of like with a wine. You're supposed to enjoy the smell. And now with the taste, when you're doing an official tasting, you take your little spoon and you, because you want to get air into the stream, so, and it goes, so that it pockets throughout your mouth. I will spare you that. But this is Souchong and it's almost gone because I love it. Yeah, why not? You want to finish it? I'll finish it. I love Souchong. And obviously that pairs really well with the meat, you know. Souchong is also, is special with blue cheese. So Souchong, like I said, is a smoked Chinese black tea. I think it's lovely. nervous about doing this video because it's a little different from how you and I usually do. But I think the picture quality is going to be good. And we're going to do some experimentation with the sounds so that it's extra tingly. Right? And I think this color scheme is nice. I like the soft feeling of the cup on my face. It's soothing, especially when you're in pain and tired. You gotta focus on the little things, like the steam and the pressure of a hot shower, or the cool sensation of ceramic or porcelain on your skin, or the liquidy taste of tea. Would you like some? And this is a beautiful black. Now this one I had trouble with. I don't know, because this came in my blind cupping for my exam. I don't know if this is an Assam black, because it's very full-bodied and malty, sweet but astringent. The Assam is supposed to be darker tasting. It's the kind people take with milk and sugar. Assam is a region in India. Versus a Kimoon is a more floral black tea from China. Versus the Darjeeling, which is, I felt like when I tasted Darjeeling, I felt like it was almost a little bit more like sour and delicate. And that's one that you will take maybe without milk and sugar. I have trouble telling the difference between my black teas. I think a lot of people do. I think this is an Assam. What do you think? Try again. Let's see. Yeah, right. Look at these little hand done things. In Korea, you can buy the most beautiful things affordably, because a lot of those arts are lost in other places. So that's that black tea. And then this is another throwaway mug. This is the other black tea that I had. And this is the one that I think I wrote on my test that it was a Kimoon, because it does taste more like a flower. But I think it's a Darjeeling, actually. I think I got it wrong, and I think it's a Darjeeling. Assam goes well with milk chocolate. And Kimoon or Darjeeling go well with brie. One of the two. It's hard. Oh, Kimoon goes well with smoked cheeses, smoked Gouda. And the Darjeeling goes well with regular Gouda. I may have that backwards. You may have to check me on that. But try it. Here's the thing. With pairings, it's really subjective. It's like, yes, red wine goes with dark meat, but if you like red wine with fish, do what you want to do. There's no rule. Teas go well with cheeses. The only general rule really is you don't want to put a very strong tasting food with a very light tasting tea, like a white tea. You really should either have on its own or with very, very weak, light cheese or very gentle dessert, right? So like a dark chocolate could go with a pu'er because they're very dark flavors, strong flavors. Or you could have a pu'er with, a very strong fishy fish. But if you're going to drink a white tea, probably drink it alone or with something very light, maybe peachy, very gentle. Don't overwhelm it, because then you're missing out on the flavor of that. So that's really the only rule, is figure out which is the food or the tea that's going to be front and center, and is the other one going to support it, and how is the other one going to support it. So, for example, if you have a matcha will go well with a lot of Japanese food and fishes and things like that because they have similar oceanness. They can complement each other. So, like I said, pu'er with a dark chocolate. Something strong. I really want to do soochung with different meats because so flavorful and smoky and strong, right? You can have it with a strong cheese like a blue cheese. It would be an atrocity to have a white tea with a blue cheese. You would be able to taste the tea and it would be yucky also. Blue cheese also is hard to... I'm not very Danish in that way, in that I don't love blue cheese. I'm pretty sure this is a Darjeeling and I got it wrong in the test. Oh well. This last one, this is another handmade. I actually know we met the person who made this one. My husband was first learning his pottery that he's making. So we know the person who made this mug. And this is a pu'er. Now this pu'er isn't very strong. I think that the way it was steeped, because there's rules about how to steep tea. Well, not rules, but ways that the tea is best, right? I always have to look it up. But generally, your black teas you steep at much higher temperatures. You boil it. Your oolong is generally 190, 195 degrees. And your green teas are going to be less than that. Let me see, I can pull these up for you. So like white silver needle is 175, steep it for 5 minutes. You want to be gentle with it, don't overdo it. It gets bitter easily. Your green teas are going to be strong if you steep them that long. So you maybe cook them at 175, but you're only going to steep them 3 minutes. Your black teas, they can handle a nice strong boil, and then 4 minutes. Your pu'er is like that too, and I think this particular pu'er wasn't steeped quite as long. My husband steeped it because I'm not allowed to see them for the exam. For the exam. So pu'er is lovely because it's got like this. It's not for everybody, it's an acquired taste. There's definitely a fermentedness to it, a mushroomy, like earthy. You can tell that things that came out of bacteria are in it. That's not a lovely way to put it, but it's a really neat, complex tea. And it'd be lovely with a dark chocolate. Would you like some? Yeah. That's awesome, isn't it? Tea is wonderful. I thank God for tea. And I thank God for you. And I'm gonna go see if I can lie down now that I've drunk all this tea. And I'm dizzy. I hope you got some good ting-tings from this. Some nice little tingles, good little sounds. Always love to spend time with you. I know it's lovely to listen to sounds and taste the teas and smell the things, and that's where I really want ASMR to become a multi-sensory experience for you. So I am really excited about being able to send out these ASMR sensory boxes that we'll be doing soon. Then you can listen and feel and touch and smell and see. We'll be using all of the senses of high rate. Smell, sight, touch. I remember them in a funny order now because of the cranial nerves. Because of learning the cranial nerves. So cranial nerve 1 is smell, and then cranial nerve 2 is sight, and then you get into hearing, later down the line. And then taste is complicated because part of 9 takes some of it, part of course, touch isn't just a cranial nerve thing, it's many nerves. So touch is, another beautiful scent, or beautiful sense, right? So, smell, sight, hearing, touch, taste. I'd like you to be able to experience all of them at the same time with ASMR. And I'm excited that we're going to be able to do that. It's going to be called Tingly Tea. Just a couple of months, and then you'll see. It'll be really neat. Make new little experiences for you. And of course the video